Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you, this time talking episode 21 of Gotham called The Hammer or the Anvil. And all in all, I thought this was an alright episode. Things are finally starting to come together for the finale next week, and it's teed up to look pretty interesting, but there's still issues. So let's take a look at, let's start with what's going on with Bruce Wayne. And of course, this is the episode where Bruce tries to sneak into the office, find out what's in Bunderslaw's safe. Of course, Bunderslaw has seen what is happening, is just basically waiting for Bruce. And I just love his whole pitch to Bruce. It's like, oh yeah, we do illegal stuff at every opportunity, and that's basically literally what he says. And I get that his idea is, okay, I'm just going to be straight with Bruce. But this is the most ridiculous. It is ridiculous just how this is the wrong approach to take to this situation. I mean, he basically says, oh, well, yeah, not only are you right that we're doing illegal stuff, we're doing it more than you possibly imagined. And, take a look at the, the big smile and cheerful energy I'm giving off here. I totally love doing this kind of stuff. And Bruce, all you have to do is just go along with this. And Bruce, you can lead a blessed life, is how he puts it. Because, Bruce is 12, so saying, Bruce, if you just forget about this, go back to your mansion, you can enjoy a life of BJs and booze, and never have to worry about anything for the rest of your life. That might have worked a little bit better if Bruce was a little older, but here, Bruce is literally a kid. And you can see the sort of subtle contempt that Bunderslaw has for him by continually offering him a cookie, and then even basically forcing him to take a cookie before he leaves. It's just all about Bruce as a kid, and that's all Bunderslaw sees as him. He sees him as a little problem to be managed. And, Bruce even throws the whole thing with, like, hey, you sent people to try and kill, like, that guy who stabbed my friend. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, that was Reggie's fault, not ours. Interestingly enough, that he doesn't raise the idea that, people tried to murder him and Selina because they thought that she knew more information about the Wayne murders. But under the circumstances, probably better just to sort of let that one slide, lest Bunderslaw have to, well, basically take that. Did you notice that big-ass shovel he had hung up on his wall? I mean, that was obviously from some groundbreaking ceremony, but I kept looking at that thing and thinking, like, he is totally going to go for that as a weapon. And then that didn't happen, and I was really disappointed. And then we're introduced to Lucius Fox, which is cool. Nice to know that not everybody at Wayne Enterprises is corrupt and bad, but Lucius just makes some cryptic comments that are really in no way, shape, or form helpful, other than giving a rather general signal that I'm not on Bunderslaw's side. Well, okay, I mean, sure, there were cameras watching him and all that other stuff, but I don't know, man. That wasn't exactly helpful to Bruce in any way, shape, or form on finding any information that could possibly help end the situation at Wayne Enterprises. You just sort of said to him, like, well, your dad's not this bad person that Bunderslaw said, which is important, true. And you just sort of made some vague insinuations that you don't agree with what's going on. Well, again, I suppose that's probably the best Lucius could do under the circumstances, but still. This is as far as introducing someone who's such a major player in the Batman mythology goes. I mean, played by Morgan Freeman, right? This fails to excite, really. Let's see. Let's just keep going and talk about. Let's talk about Eddie really quick. Now, this was one of the more fun things this episode. Last time around, he was both, like, freaked the hell out and a little pleased that he'd killed this guy, whom, was, of course, a major jerk. Here, Eddie's a little nervous at the whole getting rid of the body thing, but the ball's in a court that he understands. He's not a pathologist by any measure, but he's studied enough that he can sure fake it pretty well, and he knows what to do in order to get rid of that body, so that was cool. And then we see that moment where we see him going in there and seeing Miss Kringle's reaction to the fake letter, and then he pushes the little paper aside, and we see Nigma, him leaving a little clue to his crime. Another step down the road to becoming the Riddler. That was nicely done. Let's see. So, the ogre storyline gets wrapped up here, and of course we see Jim being completely irrational about all of this. It's like, dude, I understand you're freaked out, but you know what? You can do that stuff at your desk and shove a sandwich down your throat at the same time. This is one of those things that always annoys me when we think things like they do this sort of thing in movies. Like, okay, I can get not seeing the value of sleep, but for God's sakes, it's not going to kill. You're not really going to lose that much time eating a sandwich. So yeah, that just annoys me. Now I did initially my initial reaction kind of was to Barbara, sicking the ogre on her parents was one. They never really did very much to show us why she hated her parents. I mean, when we did see them before, they were just kind of a little cold emotionally, and we do get the impression that this is probably nothing new for them. But if you're gonna, sick a serial murderer on somebody, being a little less than empathetic, it would be a little bit better, making it seem like this is something they might have at least even a little deserved. Now, I kind of wondered originally when I was watching this episode, like, well, if you're going to sick this serial killer guy on somebody, why not Falcone? I mean, he did kidnap you. But then I kind of realized, like, you know what, that would be really stupid. If Barbara had said Carmine Falcone, he would have been like, what, the most powerful mob guy in the city? Yeah, he totally kidnapped me. Like, you're lying. You're just trying to get me to go after somebody who would, if I tried to attack him in his, mansion full of bodyguards, I'd totally get killed. And then he'd cut her throat. So, yeah, if I have to say that if that thought even crossed her mind, good for Barbara for tossing that one out, because that would not have ended well for her. Also, points to Milo can't pronounce his last name. He did do a pretty good job with a rather limited character. I mean, he does come across as genuinely fairly scary. And what was that movie where he played a bad guy? I think it was it Gamer or something like that? I think it was. So he could do bad guy pretty well. Yeah, apart from that, though, I don't really have anything terribly huge to say about that. Although this thing with Bullock going to the brothel and freaking out at whatever was going on with the stage show, that was pretty hilarious. And I also like Jim's scene with the penguin. That was really well done. It really goes to show that Penguin's getting up there in the ranks of people you don't screw with. And Bullock does have a fair point that owing the Penguin favors is something that's going to massively blow up in Jim's face. And now he owes the Penguin something really big. And odds are Penguin is not going to be quite so friendly the next time those two cross paths. But let's see. I did also like that Gordon, at the end of it, didn't have some revelation like, oh my god, I'm still in love with Barbara. No. Obviously, he still cares about her, but we do see him reaffirm that it's Leslie that he really loves, which, seeing as how she's the much better character, I am totally okay with. Now, speaking of Penguin, we also get to see him pull a pretty nice little bit of manipulation here. He gets rid of Falcone's number 2 guy, and starts off. He gets rid of Falcone's number 2 hitman, somebody who, if he did make a move against Falcone, would certainly be coming after him. Now, I mean, Victor Zsasz is still out there, but Zsasz was obviously the sort of guy who would not go for this. And given that what he did to Butch, yeah, I can kind of see how Penguin might think, well, let's see if maybe I can sort of pull this off and maybe get Zsasz to be my right-hand guy once this scenario is over. I mean, that's kind of my thinking as to what he's planning. But he does totally pull off a successful does successfully sucker Maroni and starts the big gang war that he basically prophesized in episode 1 off. And yeah, this is going to be pretty crazy stuff. I am definitely looking forward to seeing how this all plays out next episode. Especially, with the idea that we might be seeing Fish Mooney pop back up before things finally come to a head once and for all. Now, again, Jada Pinkett Smith has said she's not coming back to Gotham as a regular full-time, but I can't imagine that she might show up and end up dying in the next episode, but I don't know, that would really seem like a rather poor culmination of everything that's been happening with her off screen. And again, poor culminations are not exactly new for Gotham, well, are they? And honestly, this just kind of brings me to something I've been thinking about for a while, and that's whether or not I'm going to keep doing the review videos for Gotham Season 2. Now, it's been confirmed Gotham is going to have a Season 2, and they've said some interesting things about, Batman bad guys they're going to be looking to bring in then. But the problem is, even though I enjoy the show a fair bit, I don't enjoy doing the review videos for it for as much as I do for shows like Flash or Arrow or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And just with all the new stuff that's coming down the road, like the Titans TV show over on TNT, we've got the Supergirl TV show, we've got whatever that spin-off of Flash and Arrow with Brandon Routh and Katie Lotz is coming. I'm going to have a pretty full docket come the fall TV season. Last time I checked, I was looking at maybe doing something in the neighborhood of like 9 or 10 shows, and that's a week. That's a hell of a lot of time in front of this camera. And remember, I'm not one of those people that makes any money off this. I have never made 1 cent off of these videos, and I've done like 600 of these things. I do this just because it's fun. But nonetheless, that's a very heavy investment of time. So what I'm kind of thinking, and I'll make up my mind for sure after I watch the season finale, is moving Gotham over to the list of shows that I do live tweets for, which currently includes Walking Dead. I stopped doing reviews for that, video reviews. Elementary, Z Nation, and I think that's it at the moment. So yeah. I'm going to leave it there, guys. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.